Hey there, and welcome to this breakdown of three high ticket industry monsters where their combined total funnels are doing over $150 million. Now, if you're a coach, consultant, or entrepreneur, these funnels will work perfect in your high ticket businesses. And we're actually going to break down side by side comparisons to at the end, I'm going to show you the biggest takeaways of what all of them have in common so you can directly implement this into your business and see results ASAP. Also, if you don't have a high ticket offer, that's okay. We can talk about how we can potentially help you do that at the end of the video. So that being said, let's go ahead and hop into it. So what we're going to be covering today is the three funnels of industry monsters, right? Alex Hormozi, this is with the gym launch, Cole Gordon with closers.io, and then Charlie Morgan with Easy Grow, right? So first of all, breaking things down here, all of these individuals here, they have a high ticket offer. They're charging more than $3,000 on a monthly basis or on a one-time fee for their products and their services. Now, first of all, it all starts with the channels, right? So their active channels, Cole Gordon and Hormozi. I know Hormozi doesn't own Gym Launch anymore. He is still actually a minority stakeholder, I believe, at this point. But this is his high ticket program that he was up and coming and became famous with, right? So their channels broken down. We have LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Same for Cole Gordon. And then Charlie Morgan, his Instagram is more of a lifestyle. It's not necessarily directly selling. And I don't believe he actually sells on Facebook either, but he does have a podcast as well. So these are the four channels that each of these individuals use. There's some similarities here for sure, but they all funnel into a landing page. So let's go ahead and dive into Gym Launch's landing page here and break this down. So first of all, something that's a little bit different from the others is there's no video to start here with Gym Launch's landing page. It's going to have a niche call out, like, do you want more members, right? It's actually promoting the next workshop as well. We'll talk about this here in a little bit, but the next workshop's coming up in about 7 days from now. Today's October 1st. And so immediately we're hopping into testimonials, right? So an overwhelming amount of testimonials. They got action shots from their events. Kind of like Russell Brunson gives out ClickFunnels logos. They are giving out swords here, which is pretty sweet. I just noticed that the people are kind of cut in half here, but yeah, it looks awesome, right? And also kind of here's some of the members here talking about some really big numbers: 5K plus gym owners, 100 plus seven-figure gyms, 1.5 billion gym revenue, like really big numbers here, which is awesome. Also, immediately we're also presented with 4 really solid lead magnets, right? So basically, this is kind of coming back to Hormozi, right? You know, how to start a gym series, the 7 money models. You see that Hormozi naming coming into play, 30-minute gym ads, and then Gym Loss Secrets, which Hormozi actually wrote himself. We're having them on display here. But yeah, basically it's an overwhelm. And we'll also talk about the 7 money models here in a little bit, as it seems to be the most prominent lead magnet. So also more testimonials, images, and a button that actually leads to the mini VSL, which we'll also dive into here in a little bit. They're also presenting the gym lords as the hero of the story, right? So like really understanding, like, you know, they're dedicated to serving their community. They're expert communicators, like really just presenting them front and center as the heroes of their program. And then we have the 7 money models again have that kind of Hormozi naming coming into play. But basically, once you actually hop directly onto the page, they do have a pop-up that shows up that'll capture your email, it'll capture your phone, and then it'll also share case studies and the 7 money models. When I input my information, I didn't receive the 7 money models over my email. So if anyone from Alex's team or from Gym Launch is watching this, maybe check that out. Maybe it's on my end. But I'm assuming they just send over an email with the 7 money models document and then also sharing some of the case studies from some of their gym owners. Take a sip of coffee here. So out of all the 3, this landing page is by far the most visually appealing, which is not necessarily mandatory, right? As you can see over here, it kind of just gets like, okay, just straight information, like just straight value. But it does look really nice. It's branded really well, has a charcoal gray gold coloring. But some could view this kind of as slightly overwhelming. But in this case, I think it works really, really well for their audience. And that is Gym Launch's landing page. Now for Cole Gordon. So some of you may not know Cole Gordon. Basically, he used to sell a couple programs. His first one was like Remote Closers Academy. I actually almost went down that route and decided not to. But then they also have closers.io, where they're going to place, I believe, an appointment setter and a closer to help them come into your company, your high ticket business, and close for you, right? And so he actually has a 20-minute VSL on the front. We'll also talk about this more in a little bit, but that's pretty lengthy for an initial VSL at the top, you know, their funnel on their landing page. But 20-minute VSL, breaking down their process, breaking down a bunch of testimonials, kind of talking about the old way, new way. That's a common theme you see a lot with VSLs. Like, what have you been trying that's not really working? And then what can you implement that will actually work better? And then a call out to join 400 plus high ticket sales teams, and then a link to actually schedule there as well. Now he has massive names here. So he's focusing with Closers.io on like the really high profile clients. Remote Closers Academy, which we'll talk about here in a moment, is more of kind of like the individuals, maybe the small business owners who maybe want to go out there and kind of start closing on their own or just learn a sales process. But he's really working with like the big players here, Dean Graziosi, Frank Kern, Alaric Heck, all these names here that are really real prominent in the industry and massive credibility doing that, right? And then also below here, they break down their process a little bit. So what you'll also see here is that people aren't immediately talking about how the process is actually done. And this is going to be a big focus in all of the VSLs. And this is really important for sales in general, is that these individuals, they're focusing more on how the cake tastes versus how it's made, right? They're focusing more on the outcomes and the benefits that their clients are going to receive going through the program versus like the actual sweat and tears and frustrations they're going to have to go through learning to install this into their business, right? So everyone's always going to be focusing on those outcomes. What is vacation like? Not necessarily like the plane flight with your kids screaming or kind of the hotel room where things are going crazy. They're going to be focused on the vacation, you being on the beach, you sipping that margarita, and just really focus on that outcome. Also using some old way, new way here. So basically, number one mistake we see, this is how they win, the biggest risks. So basically kind of talking about, like I said, that kind of before and after, what's not really working and what should you be doing instead. All buttons are also going straight to scheduling a call, which is very interesting. We'll talk about this pop-up here in a moment. But if you click on schedule here, it'll take you directly to a scheduling page. And then there's also a FAQ at bottom that can kind of help, for skeptics kind of understanding how the program actually works and, maybe addressing some common misconceptions. Overall, it's very simple. It's easy to navigate. And then massive clients for Closer.io is a big boost to that credibility. Now, I'll talk quickly about Remote Closers Academy, as I believe Cole Gordon has a partner now who's just running majority of this, but they're set up very, very, very similar, right? We have the same kind of call outs here, the same video structure, the same testimonials, the same CTA at the end. And so, don't fix what isn't broken, right? And so basically here, I believe it's a little bit shorter VSL here. It looks like it's about maybe 7 minutes based on that timestamp. But yeah, also just a wall of testimonials. And don't fix what isn't broken in that process. So here's what's actually interesting as well is there's a pop-up here that came up for Closers.io that captures name, email, and then phone number. And this is actually when you first enter the website. And it takes you to a one-pager, which is actually just a mini VSL. They didn't send anything over email as well. And we'll talk about this more here in a little bit. But this actually is the only way that you can get to this video through this pop-up here. Every other button here on the webpage will actually take you to scheduling a call, which is pretty interesting. So that's Cole Gordon here. Let's talk about Charlie Morgan. So Charlie Morgan, he runs basically Easy Grow. It helps his clients create and install client acquisition systems into their business. I think now he's starting to kind of branch into like offer fulfillment and all that sort of good stuff. But he has a big following on YouTube and he's growing pretty fast. And he also has a high ticket offer as well, right? So he actually has two funnels to Easy Grow. Right now it's Imperium Acquisition, which is his old agency, I believe. And then the Imperium Agency, which seems to be kind of everything wrapped up, where this is all focused on funneling into Easy Grow. But we'll cover both just to kind of show you what some of the differences might be, as this one is going to be a little bit older over here. And so it starts with a niche call out and a strong guarantee. The best part is, if you don't get clients, we don't get paid. So they have a really strong guarantee there. He has about a 7-minute VSL. He's just blasting, like literally on a PowerPoint, just rapid spamming the arrow keys, going through a wall of testimonials, right? And doesn't really actually talk much about the program, which is fine in some cases, right? He talks about it a bit down here, kind of the delivery method under the embedded Calendly link here. But again, on the video, he just spams testimonials throughout that process. And again, he's making the outcome simple and painless here in this process, kind of breaking things down, saying, hey, you don't need to be an internet geek. You don't need to be a computer whiz. You'll learn the most effective marketing strategies to gain new clients in droves, guaranteed, right? So making it sound really simple, making it sound very easy. I know a lot of his systems focus a lot on outreach to start, which can be a lot of volume, which could be time consuming to some. But again, he's not necessarily focusing on the actual, send out 500 messages a day to get these clients. He's just talking more about the actual outcomes. Again, just kind of focusing more on how the cake actually tastes versus how it's made, right? Wall of testimonials here, absolute wall, breaking things down. He also has Trustpilot here for more credibility. And again, features here talking again about how that cake tastes, breaking things down in terms of like what they're actually going to get, what are the outcomes. Also a callback to the guarantee here. And then the final option to book that call with an embedded Calendly link. And so up here, very quickly, seems to be his older funnel. It's still live. This is for his old agency. And basically it's a video here, breaking things down on the front page. You actually can't click on it. If you click on it, it'll have a pop-up that'll pop up here, or you can put the information in here and then it'll take you to that video. So directly, he just has a very simple landing page here, very similar niche call out, but this might just be a little bit more outdated. But yeah, host is similar, but a different VSL sharing more testimonials. And so also capturing that name and email. Now, those are the landing pages. So a lot of similarities between them, a lot of video, a lot of testimonials, and very simple call to actions to move things forward to the next steps. Now let's talk about these mini VSLs here, right? So real quick. So with Gym Launch, this is the new CEO who took over from Alex, but this is going to be sharing client wins in this mini VSL, kind of talking more about the process. And their focus is actually on the initial workshop, not necessarily selling that high ticket offer. So what they're wanting to do, they're going to want to set up a 15-minute chat with you, which you can talk about here in a moment, into one of their workshops that's coming up on the 8th and the 9th. Now, this is a big thing that Alex actually broke down in the lost chapter of $100 Million Leads, talking about how to select your avatar. They would survey all of their top clients, all of their best clients, and understand what was their buyer's journey, right? The clients that stayed the longest, clients that paid the most, clients that are the best to work with. And I'm sure they actually analyzed this and saw that the best ones actually integrated the 7 money models and then also went into the actual workshops before they actually became a high ticket client, right? So again, I'm sure they actually analyzed that, understood who bought and who was the most successful. And so they actually started to recreate that buying process, funneling in directly into a workshop versus just going all out for the high ticket offer Gym Launch program. And so calendar below, about 2 to 3 days out, ton of availability every 15 minutes here. And then kind of a breakdown of the workshop. Again, kind of talking more about how the cake tastes, call out to Las Vegas and all that great stuff there. So that's this mini VSL is a little bit longer than the other two in terms of more information. But I like the branding as well, and it's really well put together. So let's talk about calls here. So you only get here if you fill out the information for this one pager pop up. And what's really surprising is that this one pager is just a mini VSL, right? But what's really surprising is that this is only 5 minutes. The VSL on the top of his landing page over here is 20 minutes long, and this one's only 5. Oop, pop down too fast. So this one's only 5. It's really interesting because most of the time you're going to see people presenting their longer format videos as like opportunities, prospects get further down the funnel instead of, you have a short video kind of talking about things very quickly and then kind of funneling into the mini VSL, which might be 10 minutes, might be 20 minutes, but instead he kind of actually inverses it to where it's a really long video to start and then a short video below, which I found pretty interesting. And also they're only focusing on appointment setters here for this process. I believe they also help install closers, but maybe this is kind of more of a older offer, or maybe it's kind of one of the pieces of the whole puzzle for them. And they also have a strong guarantee as well. If you don't book 40 sales calls in the first 30 days, you don't pay. And then also an option to schedule down below. And quite a lengthy disclaimer, which I thought was funny. I wonder if they've had issues with that in the past, but definitely quite a beefy disclaimer there. So finally for Charlie's here. So this is only from his secondary funnel. Everything for Charlie's is here. Like you literally book the call directly on this page, but this is for his older second funnel, which actually brings you to this VSL page, which is very similar to the initial VSL up here. Just having a lot of case studies, testimonials, breaking things down, not really talking too much about the actual offer. But again, it's about a 7-minute VSL breaking down testimonials. And then they've been pushing a free strategy call, free growth call, free blueprint call. I've also heard in recent emails that he sent out where this is really just kind of a strategy people use. It's pretty much uses a pseudo discovery call because in order to actually help someone with a growth call or strategy call, you have to understand where they are and where they want to go, which is basically running a pretty simple discovery call process. So they're using these free strategy calls, free growth calls as a way to pretty much get their foot in the door, hopping directly on a call with a prospect and running a discovery call in most cases, maybe with some additional information and some additional value. So those are all the VSLs. Again, usually VSLs aren't going past 20 minutes here. That's why I call them mini VSLs. These ones tend to be about 5 to 7 minutes long, even though up here Kohl's is about 20. But most of these VSLs are kind of shrunken down to a mini VSL. A normal VSL you could see to be like 30 minutes and maybe 45 minutes in some cases. So pretty interesting there. Now, qualification and call booking. So for Gym Launch, they actually don't do any questions here, which is different from the other two. And so you click on this link here, it brings you over here, you put in your email, you put in your phone number, you put in your company name, and then you confirm that time. Let's look at the time up there, right? And so this is only going to be a 15-minute phone call. The other two are about an hour long, I believe, and they're going to be promoting the workshop here, right? So first of all, seeing if you're serious, seeing if you're actually fit, seeing if you actually own a gym, right? But then actually promoting that workshop to then funneling you into their high ticket offer. And so more time, more availability. They're booking 3 days out, which is pretty key. You'll see this throughout a lot of high ticket offers. Whenever someone is interested in your services or they're feeling a pain, you want to try to capture that within about 3 days time, or else 4 or 5 days, a week, they kind of start to lose that pain. That doesn't really stay with them as long. So if they go through this process, you can ask them some questions, you understand where they are. You want to try to book that meeting as fast as possible. So the best way to do this, this is one of Hormozi's processes, is he'll say, hey, open up like 3 days on your calendar, like only 3 days in the future, but like a crap ton of availability, right? So like every single 10 minutes, just availability, and just breaking it down, making sure that they can actually book at whatever time works best for them within that 3 day period, right? And so that's for gym launch. Now for closers here, they had about 6 fields with a few questions, kind of understanding like, what is your service? It's not super rigorous. Charlie's is definitely the most rigorous out of the 3, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But they just basically want to know what your current revenue numbers are. I believe they're only working with individuals that are doing more than 20, 25K on a monthly basis. And then they also have inquiries on like, what is your service offering? And I believe they're only booking 2 days out. It might be 3, but on the calendar that I looked at, it was only 2 days out. And these are full hour-long blocks availability here. So they're pretty much going for a one-call close, which we'll talk about here in a little bit as well. Now, with Charlie, he actually qualifies directly through Calendly. So it's embedded here, right here, and then embedded up here at the top. And he has his qualification questions directly built into that Calendly link. Now, he actually has 8 questions and fields, which is the most extensive out of the 3. And they're asking, current goal revenue. They're asking kind of like, what's their biggest limiter? What are you actually charging for your services? And I believe they might have some form of a stricter qualification, potentially due to the fact that Charlie's audience is a lot of younger men. I think some definitely older, but he definitely is kind of more in line with kind of the Gen Z crowd, I would say at least. But basically, his audience might be younger. They also have a selection at the top to say, hey, we have to make sure you're over 18, right? We can only work with you if you're over 18 years of age. And so I believe that stricter qualification might be due to his audience, making sure that they're actually talking with serious individuals and those that can actually work with that are over 18. He also does hour-long blocks, and they're also booking about 3 days out. So those are the qualification process. They're doing this to make sure they're only hopping on calls with qualified leads, right? In this case with gym launch, only 15-minute calls. So there's not as much qualification. But if they're going to have one of your reps, one of their closers, one of their account executives spend an hour-long call with you, they want to make sure that time is worth it, because that time could be somebody else paying a high ticket price of 8K, 10K plus, right? And so they want to make sure they're actually qualified. This will make sure people are actually showing up as well. They'll send out some nurtures and stuff here in a little bit, but they want to make sure they're actually a good fit for the high ticket offer before they even spend time hopping on a meeting. Now, we're getting near the end here, so we're going to talk about email and text nurture. Copy here. So with gym launch here, I was only able to get one text from them, kind of breaking the process down. Hadn't gotten any emails yet, and I couldn't find any examples of the emails they used online. But basically with the text, it was kind of just a soft follow-up. Like, hey, how are you doing? Here from Gym Launch. Nice meeting you. I was wondering, I noticed you're actually taking a look at some of our resources. Just curious to know if you gather all the information that you were looking for, right? So like, they're not necessarily hard selling, which I like. I appreciate that approach, right? Like, they're just kind of like saying, hey, like, kind of just starting to kind of gauge and get a loose feeler out for like how serious this person is. And they're just making sure, hey, did you get everything you're looking for? Is there anything else I can help you with? Kind of just being a bit more polite, a bit more permission-based almost. And then I wasn't able to find ton of value. I wasn't able to find any emails for Gym Launch here. But again, they just have an extensive list of lead magnets, kind of the 4 up here at the top, right? Just value. And, Hormozi has his Gym Launch secrets that he wrote. I've actually never read it, right? I mean, I'm not a gym owner. So, but they just have a lot of value to actually nurture you throughout the process. So like, you're aware, hey, this is Gym Launch. This is what we're doing. This is who it's for. If you're interested, we have all these free resources. Go ahead and check them out. Get your hands on, provide value. And over time, what they're doing, and a big thing is that on average, it takes about 6 to 7 hours spending time with someone to have them actually buy, right? And you go from being a complete stranger over here, well, I guess over here in y'all's case, a complete stranger over here, to being that trusted advisor for them. And during that 6 hours, the more time they spend on these VSLs, there's a reason they have video content, the more time they spend in your books, the more time they spend on your website, the more time they spend on your lead magnets, the more time they spend listening to your testimonials. It's building that gap, right? That trusted advisor gap is being built with time spent on content. And so when you actually go through and get to the end of their funnel, Sometimes it may not be 6 to 7 hours to where you're ready to buy just yet. And for all people, it's not necessarily 6 to 7 hours. It can just be an average. They're just being provided with value throughout that whole period. And so even if they don't buy immediately going directly through the funnel, they're going to have ways to actually nurture you and providing value to you over the process through emails, which we'll talk about here more with Cole and Charlie. So basically that's with Gym Launch. I'm sure they also are sending out emails talking about the workshops, call to actions to that. Now with Cole here, he's talking about event meetups here. So basically breaking down some of his process meeting in Scottsdale, Arizona, clicking a spot here to secure that mastermind. I know he also does a lot of larger masterminds. I think it's called like 7 or maybe even 8-figure boardrooms where he just brings, business owners that are doing more than $1 million, more than 10 million in some cases, I think, come around round tables, sharing big value. And it's just like that can funnel into his other offers, right? Also, he's leveraging current trends, which some people do. I haven't really seen Charlie do as much. Again, with Gym Launch, I don't really know. But he's like, hey, this is a while back. Sam Bankman, CEO of FTX, lost his entire $16 billion fortune last week, right? So he's kind of like touching on like a common event, talking about what the issues are. Closer gets fired, loses all their money. They can jump into a new offer in less than a week. So you should think, hey, this is what happened to this guy. He lost $16 billion using big numbers. That's not good. The current trend kind of tapping into that, what's going on currently in the world, and saying, here's what you're going to do being a closer instead. So he's kind of like comparing that trend directly to what he does instead and saying, hey, here's why this is better. If you're interested in learning more, let's grab some time, or you can apply for Remote Closer Academy now, right? I like that, right? He's staying on his toes, keeping his audience on their toes, keeping them informed. He's able to kind of tap into like, whenever Sam Bankman-Fried just got fired, people were like, oh, like what? Like, I think he had like a pretty interesting call. Like this guy lost $16 million or something like that, right? And so people are going to click on that pretty quick and then go through it, good copywriting, and then funnel into potentially RCA as well. And so also, whenever I had actually booked a call with RCA, this was a few years back, almost became a closer full time, right? But basically, broken things down here. They had 1 hour bump, 6 hour bump, 24-hour bump, and then every single one here had make sure you actually confirm the appointment, make sure you're actually going to show up. This would reduce no-show rates, or like making no-show rates higher. Making show-up rates higher, right? So reduce no-show rates and ensure you're actually watching the content, you're getting bought in, you're spending that time to actually fill up that trusted advisor bar before you actually hop on the call. And again, they actually make sure that you watch this video before the call to, about Cole's journey going from 0 to 40K or doing remote closing. And basically, again, it's just kind of adding more value throughout the process and reducing the amount of no-shows. So that's Cole Gordon's nurture. It was, when I went through it was very good process, breaking things down. So that's that there. Now we'll talk about Charlie's here. So Charlie's kind of more of the storytelling, drip follow-up. We'll send maybe 1, maybe 2 kind of story-based emails on a weekly basis, talking about, some client wins, talking about why this doesn't really work, talking more about mindset. He's really focused a lot on kind of the mindset and the self-transcendence, self-actualization, kind of like how do you prep yourself to be in the best state to show up and do the work that needs to be done, right? And so basically after I submitted information for the VSL, they directly sent an email talking about how to watch that VSL again, coming back to it if you hadn't already. Apply for that discovery call. I'm assuming they sent this because I didn't apply for the discovery call when I went through the most recent VSL, and then they're having you actually another CTA to book that call, right? So direct follow-up after the actual VSL. And then they're asking for the blueprint call I was talking about earlier, right? So basically coming in, talking about how to go about things, how to hire, like breaking down the whole process, the blueprint of their business, how to actually grow things. And then you can tap there to schedule a 30 to 45 minute blueprint call. So it looks like they're building out a pretty custom roadmap. Maybe I'm sure it's still more of a discovery process, but they're adding a lot of value to their clients by presenting it as a blueprint call. And then also, I'm sure going into some actual custom information, kind of laying things out for their customer's journey. And then case studies, he shares his over email. So you actually it's usually a little bit shorter for these processes, talking about how so-and-so went from X to X over a certain amount of time. And then they'll have an interview link over on YouTube. And it seems like he's still posting some videos that are, still value packed, still value based, but they're also sharing a lot of YouTube videos. I actually think they're sharing YouTube videos on the Easy Grow, which is his high ticket offer, the Easy Grow channel, which is separate. So they're sharing all the testimonials there, just stacking it. So as you can see, to some degree, all of them are doing some form of email nurture, whether that be to build up that trusted advisor bar over time, making sure you're actually going to show up to the meeting, and overall just prepping you to eventually buy their high ticket offer if the timing right now isn't quite right. So let's go ahead and hop into the sales call and the close. All right, so with Gym Launch, like I said, they're running an initial 15-minute discovery that leads into a workshop. Now, I don't know what that process might look like afterwards, but I can imagine once they actually show up to the workshop, or maybe even some cases before the workshop, they're going to do a demo, right? So I'm sure they're going to break down the actual details of the program. And I believe with Gym Launch, I won't get specific into pricing for their sake, right? But I believe they're charging, more than a couple thousand on a monthly basis to become part of the program. So they make sure you're a good fit in the workshop. It still might be higher ticket. I'm not sure how much it is exactly, but it's not going to be the full investment of committing, 10K plus over X amount of time to actually become part of their program. But I'm sure during that demo, they actually go for the high ticket sale. Now with Cole Gordon, they were going for a straight, just absolute one call close. Whenever I was trying to join Remote Closers Academy, when I was considering it, you can be damn well sure they're going to have the best closer on a call for a closer program, right? And so they're going for a 1 hour discovery into a demo process. They didn't really even have a demo process. They were just getting a lot into pain, talking about it very briefly, but just like really trying to sell that gap between where I was and where I wanted to be. And they're going directly for that one call close, that high ticket sale. And no discredit to them, they were just going for the hard sell, right? I've never been more hard sold to in my life, and you can say that that's due to the conviction they have in their product, seeing the amazing testimonials they have with their clients. It really wasn't necessarily the best fit for me at the time, but they had a really good sales process, really good killer closer on the call, and that's how they ran that model, right? And then for Charlie, they're doing a 1 hour discovery / demo. And I'm assuming they'll also go for that one call close if possible, or they might be going for a 2 call close. In some cases, he said in the VSL, like, hey, don't even bring your credit card to this call, right? Like you can leave your credit card, across the house. We're not going to ask for it on this call. And so I'm sure if someone's hot, they're ready to buy, they can use that 1 hour window to go directly for a 1 call close. But I'm also sure they probably have some process of setting up a 2 call close if necessary to circle back in maybe like 2 to 3 days time if they didn't actually close them. So as you can also see, they're all using some form of closing process over a sales call. Usually with higher ticket offers, we're talking, more than 3K plus. You're going to be wanting to sell things over a sales call. People, for the most part, aren't really willing to put down, 5, 6, 8, 10 grand unless they actually talk with the person, understand things a little bit more. You can see more of kind of like a sell by chat, like where you're selling over DMs, you're sending someone a link and they're purchasing. If the offer is, 3K or less, maybe 2K or less, right? In some cases, it can be more, but you just more commonly see that like the lower the ticket value, the easier it is to actually sell without hopping on a sales call. But the higher the ticket value, usually you're going to be having some form of like a 1 call close or a 2 call close. And then all they do, they rinse and repeat and they scale, right? So they hire more setters, more closers to just scale this process up. They already have the systems, the automations, the VSLs in place. They're funneling traffic in there with ads to those landing pages to these VSLs. They're creating a lot of value-based content that's funneling directly into the landing page. And Charlie's video, all of his YouTube videos send directly to this landing page here, right? And so they're just doing all they can at the top to funnel people into the system to where they're not only building that trusted advisor bar, like with people watching their content, but they're especially building it with just really like hands-on, VSLs and testimonials and case study processes as their clients get closer to the bottom of that funnel, they're getting to actually ready to buy their high ticket offer. So once they do that, like I said, it's just repeating more of what actually is working. Don't fix what isn't broken, and just really just scaling things up with more people to actually take those sales calls, more closers, more setters. And I find that tends to be the biggest bottleneck for like high ticket businesses is like just hiring more people to actually hop on calls to close the individuals that are going through this funnel into clients, right? So they can just hire more. And the more they do that, of course, making sure that the client delivery, the fulfillment is still good, they continue to scale things up from there. So I want to quickly just finish up here on the biggest takeaways. What are the similarities between all of these funnels? What makes them tick? How can you install this directly into your business? If you want to install a high ticket funnel directly into your business, what are the core things you actually need to get up and running with them very quickly? And so biggest takeaways is that a lot of them already have extensive testimonials that are presented as soon as possible. Like, hey, we have Joe Schmo over here who's exactly like you. He's gone through a process. He went from 0 to 60K in 3 months time, right? So if you can see that, That's extremely powerful. Like, of course, they can tell you all the value, all the breakdowns, as much as they want, but until you really see, like, has someone actually done this? Like, what are the results of this? It's going to be a little bit harder to actually get you to sell into their high ticket program. And so having really strong case studies, really strong testimonials, even if you don't have a whole wall like they do to start, their companies are already doing, 10, 20, 30 million plus in most cases, right? So with that being said, having just a couple of case studies, whether it be for yourself, whether it be for a couple of clients, those will go a really long way to start. And then you can start to kind of build that wall of testimonials and case studies over time. All of them are also using a form of video, a video sales letter, right? Which is basically breaking down, hey, what have you been doing that's not working? What are you trying to do now? Here's our 3, 4, 5-step process. And then they'll usually have like a CTA to book some time if you want to learn more. Usually they'll present it like, hey, no pressure, no worries. Like, we'll just see if you're even actually a fit, just kind of keeping it low and chill. And then once you get on that call, they'll implement more of their sales processes, sales tactics to get you to become a client, right? So all of them are using video to some degree. We talk about some things with our clients, helping them set up their own video sales letters. We have some as well, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But it's really powerful to have someone just go through that process, get a clear understanding, spend time listening to you, understanding your personality, and then more understanding how they can actually go from where they are to where they want to be. Now, all of them are at least capturing a name and email. And they're doing it very quickly as well with the pop-ups. Every single one of them has a pop-up here, actually. Pop-up, pop-up, pop-up. And Charlie doesn't capture phone, but the other two do capture phone. But they're trying to get that as soon as possible so they can get you right down here to their email, text, and nurture and just get you warmed up to actually buy their offers. All are also pre-qualifying with questionnaires. Really, really important. I know with gym launches, it's like a 15-minute call here, so it's not as crazy. But the other two here, they're having 6, 8 question qualification process to make sure that their reps, their closers, they're paying high ticket prices for, or they have the opportunity to make a lot of money for. They're actually not wasting their time when they're hopping on those calls with their prospects. So they're pre-qualifying with questionnaires. They're all nurturing via email and sometimes text. Jim launched in a couple texts. I'm sure Cole sent me texts in the past, especially kind of reminding me to actually show up to the meeting, or his team would. And then they all have some form of like drip email nurture to just add value and continuously kind of like linger in the prospect's mind and build that trusted advisor bar. And then all, because they're selling high ticket offers, they're all closing over sales calls. So if you currently don't have a sales call process in your business, you want to sell high ticket, it's definitely something that you should look into implementing. It's pretty simple. But of course, you want to make sure that it's actually setting up in the right way for yourself and for your business, right? So those are the biggest takeaways right here. These are the monsters of the industry, really going out there and crushing it. All their funnels combined are doing over $150 million plus. And so if you're interested in installing a high ticket funnel directly into your business, you can just visit www.deltaly.io. It'll have about a 10, 12-minute video, not nearly as long as this here, that just breaks down our process start to finish. And if you feel that we might be able to help you install this process directly into your business, we can grab some time for a quick 15-minute chat. So as you can see, I'm doing very similar to what they're doing as well. I'll probably put a button here if I can over here on Loom, just for you to go ahead and grab some time, probably be over here to the bottom right. But you'll be able to click on that. You'll watch the video. Then directly below, you'll be able to click on a link. That'll take you to a Calendly booking, and then we can grab some time if you're fit. But definitely check out the video first, see how we actually do it. And if you're interested in actually having this process installed to your business, I look forward to chatting with you soon. So again, appreciate your time. This is an absolute pleasure to put together. Total blast, and I hope to speak with you soon. Take care. Have a good one.